Steve Gamache here with another Chef Knives to Go quick look product review, and this time we are looking at the Toshu Shitogami, or white paper number 1 Gyuto 240mm knife. And that core steel is Shitogami, or white paper number 1 reactive carbon steel. The heat rate's about 60 to 61 Rockwell on that core steel, and the construction is a stainless steel, softer stainless cladding on each side of that for a 3-layer sandwich. And these are a little bit few and far between on the site, which is one of the reasons why Mark brought them in to Chef Knives to Go, in that they've got a Yo, or Western handle, and stainless cladding over the top of Shitogami number 1. It's such a great combination for lower maintenance, yet super easy to sharpen steel. The weight is about 7.7 ounces, kind of a middle weight, 218 grams. Blade length right at 240 on the edge, or about 9.5 inches, and the overall length was about 14.3 on this sample. The spine thickness, and I mentioned this in the 210 video, and I'm going to mention it here again in the 240 because it's worth mentioning it twice. This knife is significantly thicker in the blade than the 210. So the 210, I think, was 1.7 millimeter. This is 2.7, so it's quite a bit thicker blade. It's got a heavier, meatier feel to it, and it's got more of a blade forward weight balance and more of a heft to it. It's still pretty nimble, but it just feels quite a bit different than the 210. And the blade height is about 46.3 on this, so not a super tall 240. The handle is a good general handle you see in a lot of knives. It's black Paca wood, which is stabilized wood, and it's got good fit and finish on everything. It's got a full tang through it, and it's got, I think it's a pinned and welded bolster, so it's got a great, just smooth transition into the knife itself, into the blade, top, bottom, left, right. It's just a good, elegant presentation. The blade, let's look at it up close, has embossed logo, and it says super professional, and you got a logo on there, so it won't wipe off like a screened on logo will. These have a good amount of convex design and grind to them, flowing from the spine down towards the edge, and you can just feel that, and you can see that in the light reflection. And I have not used the 240, I used the 210. This should have even better food release characteristics and separation than the 210 because it's a fair amount thicker blade. These do have a polished area that they put on both sides that's kind of like a final grind towards the edge. It's not an edge itself, it's not the bevel, but it's kind of highly polished and it goes down towards the edge, and that's on both sides, so that's a characteristic of the way they grind their knives. The actual edge bevel itself is pretty darn small. This has about a 4 out of 10 edge. It's not super great. It's got a bit of a burr on it. I sharpened up the 210, and these will sharpen up stupid easy because the white number 1 is about as good as it gets on sharpening. Fit and finish on the knife is quite good, with the exception of a little bit of a sharp edge towards the back of the knife known as the choil. The spine is nicely rounded. The fit and finish on the handle is very, very good, and overall it's a nicely done package. Let's back it out a little bit here. The balance point is a little bit in front of the bolster, so it's going to work pretty nice for either a pinch grip or a racket grip. So my pinch grip's just a little forward of that, but it gives you a nice neutral balance to the knife. Profile, let's take a look. Here's the profile on that angle, and let's put it on our cutting board. So this, kind of like the 210, only a little bit longer. It's got a pretty good flat spot on it, and it's got a good flat spot. There's just a slight back bevel, or back belly right there, but it flows into a nice long flat spot, quite a bit. So this whole back of the blade is kind of pretty flat, and you can see it doesn't have a ton of belly towards the tip, so I can't get real high with it. I get about right there, so this isn't going to go way up on ingredients, but it's this might be pretty good if you like to do a little combination of chopping, push-pull cuts, and a little bit of rocking. So it definitely has a stop at the back. It doesn't just flow into a heel, it stops at the back. So this does have a little bit of a flat spot, more so than many blades. Keep that in mind. So there you go. So overall, this is a high quality package. The 210 I used, the 240 I haven't, but it thins out nice towards the tip. Not quite as thin as the 210, of course, but the 210 was a very, very good performing blade, so this should be a solid performer as well. And so there you have a really cool offering. The Yo, or Western handle, Toshu, white number 1 Shirogami, Gyuto 240 millimeter knife.